Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. Today, we'll be covering the electromagnetic Avenger herself, Photon, the untouchable, unblockable, and undexable science terror. Like many modern champions, she has a whole list of abilities, but don't worry, we will be breaking down every single one and the best ways to defeat her. Let's start with Photon's less impactful abilities. She's immune to bleeds and power steal, but not power lock or drain, and also her medium attacks cannot miss. When stunned, she will gain an untouchable passive for 2.5 seconds. Whilst untouchable, all incoming attacks will miss. If you do miss, once the untouchable expires, it will go on cooldown for 8 seconds. If you don't miss, there is no cooldown, so it will trigger back to back to back. Also, the first hit of either champion's heavy places a non-stacking Sunder debuff on you for 15 seconds. This should be some free willpower healing, but Photon laughs in your face, as we will see in a bit. Finally, all of Photon's attacks deal energy damage, and she can also parry non-contact attacks, though it's unlikely that second point will come up on defense. Now, onto her more important abilities. Photon can gain up to 25 electromagnetic charges. She gains 1 whenever her opponent is inflicted with a debuff, or whenever you activate a special, and she gains 4 if you miss. This is another reason that her untouchable on parry is quite annoying. Either you miss to put it on cooldown, but give her charges, or you don't, but now she can just miss again. Once Photon has gained these charges, there is no way for you to remove them. Once they're there until she chooses to dump them. If she gains 1 charge per debuff though, where do these debuffs come from? Well, both champions' first medium attack and Photon's first and third light attacks place different debuffs on you. The medium debuff is a 10% suppression for 5 seconds, and the light attack debuff is an energy vulnerability. Whenever you gain a debuff from Photon, she will also inflict you with a non-stacking Petrify passive for 0.5 seconds. This is only 80%, so no reversal with despair. So some more free willpower healing from all these debuffs, right? Well, no. Very simply, Photon just turns off the willpower mastery. So those points and all those units you put into it are completely pointless. If it wasn't evident, I really hate this ability. It just feels lazy. Oh, and did I mention, those electromagnetic charges also last between fights. So if she slaps you with a massive special, whilst at 20 charges, she will start the next fight with 20 charges ready to slap you all over again. Anyway, once Photon reaches 10 or more charges, she can dash back and hold block for 1.2 seconds to trigger her pure light form. This will also happen if she reaches the maximum of 25 charges, or you knock her down whilst she has more than 10. During this time, she gains a chunky fury for each 5 charges she has. She cannot miss at all. Her personal debuffs fall off 50% slower, and her special attacks gain additional effects. Her electromagnetic charges will last 0.9 seconds each, and her pure light form effects are removed when they hit 0. She will pause the charge drain during your special attacks, and for 3 seconds if she punishes one of your special attacks, so make sure they land. Photon's specials are about as annoying as the rest of her kit, maybe more so. If she's in pure light form, then you can't avoid them with the dexterity mastery. Don't try and be good at the game, because once again, Photon just laughs in your face. And it only gets worse from here. Her special 1 inflicts a relatively small overload debuff, which causes her attacks to inflict additional energy damage. If she's in pure light form, she will inflict a second one. Not too bad. Or not. Remember that if she is in pure light form, we can't dex this attack. And if she is in pure light form, the final hit is passively unblockable, except against parries. So you need to parry that last hit. Free block damage for you, which only gets worse with Sig, but we'll get there in a moment. Her special 2 inflicts a taunt on the final hit. Again, not too bad, but again, if she's in pure light form, There is another effect. If she's in pure light form, she will again be passively unblockable, and you can't even parry this one. A special 2 in pure light form is basically game over. It will also pause her charges for the duration, and if you do survive, she will go untouchable for 3 seconds afterwards. I cannot imagine the mind of someone that thought it would be a good idea to have a special that is passively unblockable, and that you can't dex, and that hits as hard as it does. But that is what we have to work with. The special 3 will increase the maximum limit on her electromagnetic charges by 5 for the rest of the fight, and this stacks up to 3 times for a total maximum of 40. And if she has more than 20 when she throws the special 3, she can get a pretty decent regeneration buff that she will pause whilst striking her opponent. But as always, special 3s are best avoided. Photon's signature ability keeps the pain coming. She is now immune to neutralize, which isn't the biggest deal, but for each debuff on you, she will also reduce your block proficiency by up to 900 and increase hers by half as much. So those hits you can't dex and have to parry, on the times they aren't unblockable, well, now they're just going to hurt even more. Finally, she has up to a 65% chance to inflict her energy vulnerability debuffs when struck by or blocking a light attack. None of this changes much about her, but it just makes her that bit more annoying. So, what do we need to beat Photon? Well, as we have seen, pretty much all of her annoying issues come from her pure light form. So our main goal is to make sure she can never get there. Champions with access to Tranquilize can prevent her from gaining debuffs, but as of this recording, this is limited to just Mantis and Kate Bishop, both of whom are excellent counters. We can also use ability accuracy reduction to make sure she can never gain those charges. Crossbones, Black Cat and Falcon are good examples and will do well here. Champions that cannot miss can also be an option if that is where you are messing up. Vigilance, True Sense, or just innate miscountering abilities will all produce the same result here. Professor X, Vox, Silver Surfer and Hercules are all decent options for this. With a little bit of skill, we can also play around her pure light form. Once she is above 10 charges, get her power as low as possible, and then knock her down. This will trigger her pure light form, but she won't have a special attack. This is where most of the pure light form annoyances come from, so if we just dance around and waste time until all the charges go away, we shouldn't have any major issues. Just repeat this until the fight is over. Not necessarily the nicest, but you can do it with anyone. We also have 2 options with a super niche piece of utility that's normally just glossed over, in the form of Nightcrawler and Silk. There may be other champions that can do this, but these are the ones I could think of. They have the ability to not get struck when dashing back, and this isn't technically a use of the dexterity mastery, so Photon can't turn it off, meaning you can avoid the attack. There are other champions with very similar text in their abilities, such as Invisible Woman and Quicksilver, but this is a fantastic case of Kabam just being inconsistent. Some work, some don't. They should work, but they don't. If I have missed a champion, make sure you thoroughly test them before trying it against any big photons, and do also let me know down below. The final option is to just finish the fight before she can do anything annoying. This does of course depend on the situation, the size of the photon, the range of your champions and so on, but any super high damage output champion can work pretty well. Cosmic Ghost Rider, Corvus Glaive, Hulkling, Mole Man and so on can work okay if you can get her down before anything annoying happens. So, Photon will go untouchable whenever you stun her. Gains charges whenever you are inflicted with a debuff or you miss her. When at above 10 charges, she can trigger her pure light form. This gives her many extra effects and makes her special attacks undexable and parts or all of them unblockable. Our best counters are champions that can prevent debuffs from being triggered, can dex undexable attacks, or can just end the fight quickly. We can play around the pure light form by not letting her throw any specials, so we don't have to worry about them that way. I hope this helps you against your future photons, and do let me know how your fights are going now. Coming soon, Monday the 20th or the 27th of May, Act 7.1.1. Just depends how my schedule lines up and what I can get out. I want to make sure things are good and that you get all the best information you can, hence the long time between the end of Act 6 and the start of Act 7. I hope it'll be worth the wait. I also want to do some more videos on Mr. Sinister, as I've been really liking his buff, and he goes really hard now. I also have a Discord server, so feel free to join that. A great place to get specific advice, make suggestions for future video topics, and while I'm awake, I do my best to be there as much as possible. Thank you, and I will see you next time.